All right. Over the years of being an online public figure, so to speak, and into coaching, mentoring, and being in this industry, I've had people who approach me for relationship advice. And I know, many of you would say, "Who the hell would come to you for advice, man? You had divorces and all that." Well, guess what? There is a market for people whom they feel more comfortable sharing with me. And keep one thing in mind: given that I look like a typical bad boy and I have had a very colorful past, people who do strange and bizarre things know that they cannot share these stories with, uh, the decent corporate society. They can't go to a psychologist, psychiatrist for the fear of maybe they'll be reported to the police. So they feel comfortable sharing with me. And if you have followed me online for a couple of years, you know for a fact that I never reveal client details to the world. I just share the incident. So these are the five strangest relationship problems that were ever shared. And I remember them to this date. It didn't happen just today. It happened over the period of time. I would say I'm 47, 30. Yeah, from the age of 30. From the age of 30, you would say 15 years, 10 years, whatever. So these are the five strangest relationships. Now, I've not put them in particular order, but I want you to listen to them and I want you to tell me which one is the one that shocked you the most. And like I said, I definitely not sharing client details which are private. Okay, so in no particular order. The first one. This one shocked me personally quite a lot because I knew the female. I knew the female from, let's say, because I lived in UAE for 40 years approximately, so to speak 35 plus. So obviously people who studied and college and all that. So I knew this girl, female, and she was my age. She is my age. Even today she is there, but I prefer not to be friends with her. That is why I deleted her from my social media, okay, as a follower, as a contact. Now, what makes things strange about her? She married this guy who is a Muslim, and it is still today a very abusive relationship where he is to really beat her very, very badly and very violently. Now it has stopped. Now it is no longer as extreme as before, but he beat her so many times that it seems her eardrum got damaged. Her face, she has slight problem with the nerves here. He busted a optical this thing bone. Then it seems that she nearly got a fracture, and she told the doctor she fell down. So very, very abusive relationship. Okay. Now, before you start feeling sympathetic and pity for her, she approached me and told me all this. I said, why don't you divorce him or why don't you leave him? She told me, how can I leave him? I have 5 children. Okay, fine. So 5 children, five. Now, if, the story had stopped over there, I would still feel sorry for her. I would still feel bad for her. I would still want to, guide her. She told me something that really blew my mind off. And what was it? She one day told me, Law, my 5 children. Have you seen them? So I saw those 5 kids. I was like, yeah, okay, there. Saying, have you noticed anything common? So, she had shown me her children. They were not in front of me. And then, she was talking about it later on. So I said, no. And she showed me a photo. Do you see anything? I said, no. I said, I can't make out. Like, what am I supposed to look at? And then she said, they're all different. They're all unique. I said, yeah, children are supposed to be different. They're supposed to be unique. What do you expect? And then she gave me a shocker when she said, all these 5 children are from 5 different men. I was like, what? You're married to your husband and you have 5 children, But none of these 5 children are from your husband? He said, no. So obviously the first question, how do you know? She said, Loy, I'm the one who had them in my womb. I was the one who carried them. I was the one who kept records of my periods and when I had sex and all that. And I said, I had so many questions. I said, do the fathers know? Yeah, they all know about it. And I said, do they help you? Yeah, they do help me indirectly in separate accounts and all that. They are caring, but I have to keep quiet about it. So I was like, so you have a separate bank account and separate this thing to manage these kids? And she said, yeah. I was like, okay. And I said, so what are you planning? Are you planning any more children? No, no, Lloyd, this is more than enough and all that. So I said, and you still want to stay married to this guy? He's saying, Lloyd, where I can change and I don't want to change. I'll tell you, I've never been more shocked. And the reason why I'm shocked is if you read online and it's somebody else, fine, you don't give a damn. But here you know the person from literally from childhood and she's telling you, and I was like, what the hell is this? And later on, the comedy part is the last I checked on LinkedIn, now she has become this life coach or women's empowerment coach where she gives where she gives women advice on love, relationships, and empowerment. I was like, man, this is a story to be told, man. This is so bloody crazy. I just kept quiet. She tried to get in touch with me. She tried to add me up. I refused. I was just not interested. I don't know, man. There are some things which are very hard to digest. For me, this was very hard to digest. So this was the strangest relationship problem number one. Second one, this one is not just funny. It is by far the most comedic one that I ever remember. This guy comes in, very good looking guy, Pakistani guy. I remember he came to my residence in Sharjah. Really handsome, very good looking, very, very good looking. Okay, white and handsome. And he came with with these 3 girls. Okay. And I was like, okay, I started to figure out like what's going on. 3 girls, all 3 are sisters. Okay. And this guy is uh, like, he's with them. So, hi, how are you? Hi, okay, whatever. And they're typical Muslim Pakistani, like, they were having the scarf. And so I said, yeah. So he said, Loy, brother, he said, what I'm going to share with you, I want you to keep it confidential. Yeah, whatever. I said, you're paying me as a client. Saying, brother, then he pointed at one and he said, this is my wife. Okay. This is your wife. Okay, very good. And he's saying, and I love my wife. Okay. This is her sister. Okay. And this is her sister. I said, okay. So I'm looking at them. I said, so what's the issue? What's the problem? Saying, but I love all 3. I was like, uh, wait. These 3 are sisters, correct? Yeah. You're married to this female. Yeah. You love this girl. Yeah. But you love this girl also. Yes. And you love this girl also. Yes. And they all 3 know that you're, you know, you love them. He was like, brother, you cannot understand, but I love all 3 equally. They are like equal in my heart. I love all 3 of them. And then he kind of blew my mind off by saying that all 3 are pregnant. I was like, you know when you can't talk, when your voice is like nothing is coming out. So I was like, you're married to her and she is pregnant. And this is also pregnant, and this is also pregnant. Saying, yes, brother. And then I asked him, so what do you want me to do? Like, what what am I supposed to do? He's saying, brother, I don't know what to do. I want to marry all three. I told him, boss, then Dubai is not the place for you to be. You need to move to Pakistan where this is normal and this is allowed. He's saying, but I'm afraid. If I go to Pakistan, what, you know, like he was afraid for his life and this and that. I was like, is this even allowed in Pakistan? Like, he's saying, yes, you can marry if the families agree. And I was like, okay. So I said, what do you want me to do? Like, why you came to me? I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a Pakistani. Saying, what do you advise? He's saying, brother, what do you advise? I told him, see, listen, you're asking a non-Muslim, a non-Pakistani. I'm only going to give you, in my limited understanding, what is to be done. I told him, first things first, you need to get out of UAE and go to Pakistan. That is number one. Okay. And if you can, I said, because I told him, you go to any other country, you have to take care of all of them because he didn't have citizenship of other countries. I said, go to Pakistan. And luckily, he had money. So I said, with your money, go stay somewhere far off where you can protect them, you can take care of them. You want to marry all three? That's perfectly fine if it is allowed. You figure out a way to get married because obviously you can't give birth to a kid without a father. And get married ASAP. So it's legalized. And I said, stay away from social media. Don't have anything posted on social media. Don't inform any of your relatives. Just go quietly, not even your relatives, not in her relatives. Just go, do your happily ever after family and live there. And then he said, do you have any other advice? I said, the advice is don't be on social media. Keep this thing private. Don't involve the family and live separate. Otherwise, I said, I asked him, does the family object? And he's saying, the family doesn't know, but we love each other and we want to die for it. I said, there's no need to die and there's no need to make it a romantic ek duje ke liye kind of Hindi movie. I'll die, you will die, all of us die. No need to die. So I told him that. And then obviously he shared with me some more things about his business. Luckily, he had enough and more money. But that's what I told him. And, I checked with them. It seems they had their passport with them and they could travel and all that. So I said, before it becomes like you can't travel anymore, move. So this was the second strangest relationship. And I'll tell you, I just, I don't know how you can have three females, all three sisters, like the same guy and sleep with the same guy. And I don't know. That was so crazy. And when one got pregnant, the other two wanted to get pregnant. So crazy. Anyway, this is a Pakistani Muslim love affair. I guess it's one of a kind. Anyway, number three. This one is another crazy one. This female, okay, I hate to admit this, but this female was supposed to be a client, but I ended up shagging her. Shagging her means had an affair. Affair means sexually. And it was pretty cool. She was Indian. She was very open-minded. She didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. And everything was fine. Everything was fine until one fine day she told me that she has to stop having this affair with me. I was like, okay, I'm not in love with you. We just have fuck buddies. And then she told me, I have to admit and tell you something. I said, yeah, go ahead. Tell me what it is. And then she told me that she was sleeping with her boss. I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. That's why better not to have STD. You're sleeping with him. I don't want you sleeping with me. Okay. So she told me she's sleeping with him and this thing. So I said, fine. Then she said, but there's a problem. I said, okay, what is the problem? He wants to marry you? No, he's married. He has a kid. He is happily married. A Russian guy. Okay, so what is the problem? She apparently is sleeping with 3 to 4 guys in the same company, and all of them are seniors in different positions. So when she told me that, I was like, the first thing I asked her is, I hope you know, you stopped having sex with me after, you started having sex with them. And she kind of told me, yes, I more or less, once I started to have an affair with him, that is where we stopped, and that is where I started to take a break. And then I recollected one of the incidents where, I was trying to get frisky with her. She said she was not in a mood, and she lied to me saying that she was getting a period. So I was like, okay, thank goodness for that. And then when I started to ask her, how the hell did you end up sleeping with 3 to 4 guys or whatever? And she told me that they had been for this annual picnic and this and that, and they all were dancing in this hotel, and then they got drunk, and each guy started eyeing her and all that, and who they were, because they had a good time, they exchanged numbers, and she ended up sleeping with one after another. And one of her great incentives for wanting to sleep was they were actually giving her money and taking care of her. So now she has 4 sugar daddies. So then I asked her, now what is the problem actually? So she said, now it seems one of them found out that she's sleeping with her. Now she is jealous, even though he has a wife and he has a family. And he wants me all for himself. And they started to create tension. And she's afraid now the other 2 who are also sleeping with her, they will also come to know. So she wanted to know how to handle this. I told her, my dear, first thing is you tie your thing down there, put a lock and key, stop, and 4 guys in the same organization. And now 2 of them have found out. Then the other 2 will find out. So finally I told her, listen, I suggest you resign from this company. Otherwise the story will spill over. Then you'll simply have drama. And I said, 1 being a Russian or 2 being a Russian, whatever, who knows, maybe they'll take guns and shoot and this and that. And I said, just keep in touch with 1, break up with 3. You cannot have 4. She took my advice, did resign and leave the company, but she didn't follow it in terms of relationships. It seems that she kept in touch with all the 4. And well, I guess it paid off, because when I started to see her Facebook, this thing, she was traveling to so many countries around the world, doing so much of shopping, had so many expensive stuff. So I was like, I guess the sugar daddies are taking care of her. So finally, for me, I was like, this is not someone I want to keep in touch with. So I broke off the relationship after that. So I didn't keep in touch with her. So I don't know where she is, what she's doing. But I'm pretty sure that given how effective she is, Indian female, I'm sure that she's using her head and controlling many more sausages for many more sugar daddy favors. Okay. Last 2. I think the 5th one will be the most shocking. This one was a priest. I'll not give you specific which from where or whatever. A priest who was really, really very close to, who has to go to for advice, guidance, and someone I really respected. I didn't keep in touch with him, but after I left the Catholic Church and all that, but he was a very good guy. Somehow he used to not get along with the parishioners, especially our Indians. Our Indians had a lot of groups within the religious groups, and he was not a very big fan of these religious groups because they thought they were closer to God more than the priests. So they really got together to harass this guy and complain about this guy. And he was a good priest, very good priest, very mature, very nice, very likable. So I was not in touch with him. Suddenly, out of the blue, one day he added me on Facebook because he saw my videos on UAE and all that. And then we were just thinking about good old days. And I told him, thank you, Father, for you're always there in my younger days and all that. And then he told me, I'm no longer a father. I was like, oh, okay. So you're no longer a priest? He said, no, I'm no longer a priest. I said, oh, okay. So how is life after priesthood? And then he told me he got married. I was like, oh, okay, you got married means, yeah, but not officially to church because they wouldn't allow. And he said, married in the sense, not legally, but I'm staying with a woman. And it turned out the woman was a nun. I was like, oh, okay. And they had a baby. I was like, okay, fine. It doesn't matter. For me personally, it doesn't matter. You're no longer in the church. He married. And the story would have ended there and been normal. He got in touch with me after a few more years, only to tell me now he's divorced. He's no longer with a nun. I was like, okay. And then he told me now he's gay. I was like, when did that happen? And it seems that when he was with her cousin, who was a guy, he fell in love with a guy. And then one day he got caught red-handed by the wife. And the wife said, sorry, I don't want to be in this relationship. So yeah, priest who gave up priesthood, fell in love with a nun, got a nun pregnant, and they both left being priest and nun. And then he got involved with her cousin, and now he's become gay. So, wow, go figure. Okay. Last, if not the least, this one will be the most shocking and the most disturbing out of all. I just want to be careful how do I say it. But when I was at the age of 36, after I came back from my suicide attempt and I was rebuilding my life and taking, the steps towards being a coach and as to mentor and coach people in groups, I used to, because it was my initial days, I was to promote myself on Instagram and Facebook. I was very aggressive in those two platforms. I was not very much on YouTube and word of mouth. So I was to conduct also these public seminars where people could come in for free and they could bring their friends and all that. One fine day, I got this, because my number was put there, I got this call from a female. And, I answered the female, and it turned out this girl, she was like, I want to take your advice. And she sounded very young. And I was like, you sound very young. How old are you? At first, she was hesitant and all that. She didn't want to tell. And she was like, no, age is just a number. I said, see, listen, at this time, deleting this thing, blocking. I have no interest. You either tell me who you are, like, give me your age and all the details. She turned out to be a 12-year-old. 12, huh? Just keep this in mind. 12-year-old girl. I said, my dear, you're too young to be speaking to me. You're seriously underage. I don't want to have this conversation because I don't know what you want. So I said, get to the point and let's end it because I'm not comfortable talking to a 12-year-old. Long story short, she has been sleeping around and having an affair with almost all the elders in her house. Let that sink in. She slept with her uncle. She slept with her uncle's friend. She slept with her uncle's cousin. She was having sex with all of them. And I was like, my dear, didn't you, aren't you, where are your parents? Like, no, my parents don't give a damn. My father is never there at home. He's always working. My mother and I don't talk to each other. She's always alcoholic drinking. Then I said, then where the hell do these other relatives, they keep visiting me and it's initially started with my uncle and he used to tell me he loves me. He takes care of me. He worries about me. And then we got physical. And I said, when did you get physical? It seems last year. Then after that, his friend came and I was like, whoa, stop. And I had to stop her there. It was just this half an hour. I said, see, listen, I don't know if you're bullshitting with me. I don't know if you are talking nonsense. But this is not a joke. This is very, very serious. She said, yeah, that's why I'm speaking to you because I can't talk to anyone about it. I said, you need to call up child welfare or you need to call the police. Or she was like, no, I'm very afraid. And I said, are people forcing you? Like, do you want someone? No, it's not forcing. Even I enjoy it. Then I asked her, then why are you telling me all this? She said, because I have no one to talk to. Immediately, I told her, I want to be very clear with you. I'm ending this conversation because uh, either this is bullshit, either this is a complete fabricated story, or if it is happening, it's a very, very serious offense, which I don't want to be part of because this, what is happening, is a crime. I must report it to the police, but I will not be doing that because I don't want to get involved. So I told her, I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is true, she said, no, 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 God promise, I'm not lying to you. Why should I lie to you? And that is where the way she was talking to me was as if she was attracted to me. And I was like, this girl has some mental, emotional issues. I was like, she's like, you're like, what? A father figure to me or someone I look up to. I said, I don't want you to look up to me. I don't want you to father figure, nothing. Okay. You listen carefully. I told her, I'll be blocking and deleting you. I'll not be, I don't want you ever calling me up. If you do, I will report to the police. And you have to seek legal, emotional, support. What is happening is a very, very serious thing. It's an offense. And I said, because I was in Dubai, I said, this can lead not only you into legal trouble, but all the relatives involved. And I don't want to be part of this drama. So I said, please consult because this is not a joke. And she was like, okay, fine. I thought you would at least understand me. And I was like, nothing. I was just eager to end the call. So finally, it was a bye-bye. And one of the key reasons why she did get in touch with me is because I think I was to talk about me getting molested by my uncle. So I don't know how did she come to know about it, and she got in touch with me. So anyway, this was by far the most disturbing, the last one. So anyway, these are the 5 strangest relationship cases that ever came to me. And there have been other ones, but they're not as extreme as this. So out of the 5, let me know what is it, what do you think? And remember one thing, if something is illegal and something is wrong, you have to get in touch with the authorities. But for me, the last one, which I told you about, it was so disturbing. I didn't want anything got to do with it. And in fact, I literally, I think I blocked and I disabled my Instagram for some time because I was so shocked with this whole incident. But yeah, ever since, from then on, when I feel something is a crime or criminal offense, I stop the conversation immediately and I tell them I don't want to be any part of it. Because, when something is dangerous or criminal activity and the person's confessing to you, you suddenly get involved with the crime. So I don't want to get involved in anything that is criminal. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, good, bad, ugly. I would like to hear from you. You guys take care. It's me signing off.